tank bans, seems like Peanut wants to go into a DPS matchup in the jungle.
Yeah, lots of tank bans, but also you got that Shen, who can be a bit of a flex. We've been seeing some Shen support. And look at the other side, KSV banning 380 carries. You notice that the Kog'Maw is taken away. We will not be seeing Ruler on that, but also Ezreal, another Klepto user, and Kalista being banned.
Now, right now, we have a hyper carry meta. When we get into game, I'll go into a bit of how it's developed, because at All-Star, it was about the poke 80 carries. It was a lot of Misfortune versus Jhin. We still may see Misfortune, which is permabanned on LPL yesterday. Still powerful on 8.1, even with some of the lethality items powered down. The tank supports and hyper carries have been the meta. Kog'Maw and Kalista, really big in solo queue in Korea. And of course, a tank support like Tahm Kench rises in popularity, trying to keep those hyper carries safe.
Yeah, may disencourage a pick like Alistar or Leona that would want to dive on in, because Tahm Kench will help out with saving those 80 carries. We were talking about a lot of 80 carries. We got Varus picked up here first for KSV. Wants to pick that up before anything else gets banned.
I thought it would be out with the old and in with the new, but it's back to the old. The most famous Varus we have in this league is Ruler, who played it by a far margin, his most picked. In solo queue, at least, Crown has been focusing on the Azir, but because Azir, Ryze actually has a good matchup into Azir, win rate-wise, and also in pro play, just going to go straight for the Ryze, but BDD, very early Cassiopeia to answer it in lane.
Yeah, no hesitation with that pick at all. We did see some Ryze play over in LPL. Not a lot of Cassiopeia counter picks, but KZ, they have a different mindset here.
When I looked into stats of what people were playing in solo queue a couple of days ago, at the time, in the past week, BDD was 9-1 on Cassio. There's been so much Ryze in solo queue. And will we see the Peanut special? Peanut did not play a single game of Nidalee on SK Telecom, despite it being his big pick on the Rocks Tigers. It's locked in here, and Peanut Nidalee, people called for it all of 2017. We get it on day one in 2018.
I guarantee you the Twitch chat is filled with PogChamps, Craigasms, whatever you have. It's going to be a fun one. I love watching Peanut play Nidalee in solo queue, in competitive. It's been a long time, as you mentioned, but we get it back. On the other side of the Rift, KSV is going to pick up Gnar, a safe pick for the top lane.
Peanut was undefeated in the entirety of 2016 on the Nidalee, his big pocket pick. So cool to see it here. Really explains why the Sejuani was banned. Wants to get into a tussling matchup here, does Nidalee. But we're going to get into the second round, and Camille, which has been a big favorite as a flex pick, interestingly, not just the top lane, but jungle. Blank has been playing a lot of it in solo queue. Will be banned away. Good matchup into Gnar, so just giving a bit of coverage for QV in the top lane.
Yeah, before we started, we were talking about what would QV play, what should we look towards. We were thinking Camille, Gangplank, but after those two get banned out, has to go for that Gnar. We do have a Kha'Zix ban on the other side here by Kingzone, just a very strong top-tier jungle pick here.
But the big surprise is no Ornn in the ban list, let alone in the pick list, so no priority on that. There's a lot of interesting matchups to talk about around Ornn. Most of them are farm lanes for Ornn. Feels like there's other champions like Gangplank that can have some weak matchups. Vlad Top is a big pick into the Gangplank here in solo queue, but just banning away power picks. It is Rascal today, so it is a different flavor of top lane. You don't have to respect the Jace, at least in the first round, like you would if Khan was playing. So with Rascal in the lineup, will still be a second round Jace ban. And look at this, Taric ban, just wanting to stop there being a full-on 5v5 team fight comp from the side of KSV. If you throw in invulnerability to what KSV had in the first round, and now with the Jarvan, very difficult to see a 5v5 that a Kingzone could take.
Yeah, it's very true. I do like that Jarvan pickup. Definitely one of the stronger picks in the jungle. You don't have too many options left over. The Camille, the Kha'Zix, the Sejuani taken away, so they will just pick that up. And now we do get to get the support pick last for KSV. Let's see what KZ wants to pick up. You were talking about Ornn. Looks like we may be seeing Rascal on that in the top lane. We'll be locked in right now.
So sort of matchup against Gnar, which is not ideal for Ornn, but given he has so many winning matchups, a matchup where he's, what, 30-70 is not necessarily going to be too much of a headache, can still stick in lane forever with his passive and be able to stay very competitive against the Gnar, but it will be a pushing advantage for Gnar in the top side. We see here Prey really heavily considering the Xayah. That's really seen very little priority. Most analysts not talking about Xayah in this meta, especially with Rakan deprioritized. It's going to be Xayah and Tahm Kench at the top. You're looking for a support for the Varus. Very simply plugging in the Braum after the Taric is banned. Pure team fight excellence for the side of KSV, but also some good pressure lanes as well. This is going to be a really competitive one. The wild card, though, is Peanut on the Nidalee. Nidalee's not necessarily on a true timer, but it's pretty close to that. It is about how much work you can get done early to get that mid-game snowball going. Peanut on the Nidalee. Didn't think I'd see it here today, but I'm so ecstatic for it.
It's a good surprise for us here to go into game number 1, into day number 1 of LCK 2018. Unfortunately for you bloodthirsty supports out there, not really going to be as surprising or exciting for you, but you can look towards the other lanes. The Tahm Kench versus Braum matchup, not one of my favorites, Papa.
To me, it's jungle mid, because Ryze with the instant snare and Jarvan with the long-range engage, holding down BDDs, allowing Ryze a bit of breathing room to get those frequent backs, get that tier, get that catalyst, get going. That is going to be the job for Ambition, whereas Peanut, Battle Ward was invented for Peanut's Nidalee. He's going to want to get into the enemy jungle and make Ambition accountable for every camp he tries to pick up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes into day number 1 knowing Peanut's personality and his playstyle, just trying to get right in the face of Samsung. He wants revenge for his previous team of SKT, but also for King's own DragonX, who did get taken out by former Samsung here in KSV. So you guys did take one last look at the compositions here. Curious to see what Kive can do on that Gnar. Is he going to have some carry potential with his ultimates? He did become one of these bigger picks in the top lane, one of these bigger players that everybody is talking about. But guys, it looks like we are just about ready to jump into the game. And right as I said that, we do have a pause. So even though we have this nice countdown timer, not going to be as hype as it should have been, Papa.
Come on, Brendan. You didn't need to tell the fans at home about the pause so early. But we got to also discuss the runes, because of course runes were forged on this patch, so we're going to have a lot to talk about runes, we're going to have a lot to talk about team comps. There's high-level storylines like the LCK champions versus the world champions. Bit of bated breath here. This is new for me. I guess the SPO TV issues will never subside completely.
Yeah, starting off day 1 with the pause issue. Pretty standard, solid SPO TV special.
I mean, you're the veteran here. You're going to have to get me indoctrinated into the SPO TV way.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about Pokemon if you really want to, but I'd rather not, Papa. I feel like we've kind of moved on from those times. Has been an entire year. But it is a skin issue. We did just get the update, so we'll see if we get that on screen for you guys a little bit later.
First day of the season. Hopefully just a couple of kinks to work out before we can get into the game. I saw a couple of the keystones. We'll have them hopefully on the screen for you guys a little bit later. Phase Rush on the Cassiopeia, just to have that extra slow resistance. Stop the Braum Q from slowing her down. That was the most interesting one I noted. Both supports, they know their roles. They're both taking Guardian here. No Aftershock Alistair. No Unsealed Spellbook Alistair, which after yesterday's performance from Ming, something we're going to have to be a little bit rueful about. So just both Guardian on Tahm Kench and the Braum. I want the game just talk for itself. Will very shortly, Valdez.
Yeah. Usually the skin issues get resolved
with a reload or two.
Pretty easily. It doesn't usually take that long, guys. So you guys can do a little bit of meditating here with Crown. Maybe wear some bling just like him.
Now he's wearing bling, but interestingly, he has a ring around his neck, but not his World Championship ring.
What could it mean, Papa?
I asked Core JJ in the back during makeup, do any of the players play with their Samsung Galaxy Worlds ring? He said no, which made me very sad.
Yeah.
I guess a little bit too much bling, perhaps.
It was a very fast no. I think wearing a ring that's that heavy would be kind of hard to play.
But if you hyper carry, if you carry with that ring on, you are quite a beast. So
pause skin.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. It's a new version here for you guys who are, it's a new year, 2018. It's not issue anymore. It's skins. Pause skin here.
Pause is the issue, and skin is the reason here. As you can see that King's own DragonX patch on what looks like a makeshift Longzhu shirt. Of course, the name came out very late, so we might have a uniform update during the season. But for now, it's just King's own and Gorilla smiling sweetly. Of course, early at the start of the season, we wondered, would Longzhu stay together? Of course, they got into that perennial, it seems like year on year for these X-Rocks Tigers guy situation where we wondered, would they still stay together? But the team staying together under the new banner of King's own DragonX.
Yeah, slowly coming back together, getting the band back together. The thing that surprised me about the DragonX logo is that they asked us to call them King's Own, but the logo is a dragon on top of an X, which is DragonX, right? So why didn't we call them DragonX instead of Kingzone?
Look, I accept.
I don't really understand the reasoning behind this, Papa.
I accept the decision just because Kingzone flows off the tongue just a little bit more. Kingzone, KZ. It is amusing they went from LZ to KZ, just one letter change.
Yeah.
On
Adding
the
some
consonant
more
side.
Ks to the LCK.
That's such a weird thing. We have 4 teams that start with the letter K. We have Kingzone, Kongdu Monster, KT Rolster. That's already 3. And KSV, of course, their opponents today. So a lot of K teams going on over there.
Yeah, we are in Korea.
That's
the
true.
K nation. So there you go. It does make sense. They are just picking their champions once again.
Yeah, we have the production monitor here showing us
through.
They're going to speed through pick and ban again. And while you guys watch Ruler adjusting himself, MVP of World Finals there in Ruler, hopefully very soon we'll be able to get into the action for what should be an epic season. The sort of season where in an interview I gave KT the slight nod in terms of favorites, but there are teams coming up like Afrika and BBQ both reinvigorating their rosters and potentially having a lot to show. You have SKT as, for once, a wild card. You know, the perennial top 2 team. Okay, kept Faker, Bang & Wolf still in the bot lane. Other positions, a bit of a question mark. Just their synergy and how they will take a evolving meta. Also a bit of a question mark for SKT. SKT usually triumphantly answer the question marks with results, and that may still be what happens here in spring 2018. But questions for them and just optimism for so many squads here means it could be our most competitive season yet.
It definitely feels that way. I think there are a lot of teams that you mentioned, like Afrika and BBQ, that are real wild cards, right? They're not guys like MVP and LCK Spring where they're like, okay, they just barely made it, but it seems like they're an obvious step down. Now it's like, yeah, Afrika definitely could take games off of these teams and even in the playoffs win against them. Teams like BBQ, you don't really know what they're going to be like. I feel like we have a good idea of what KSV is going to be like. Obviously, same players, but can they keep their form together? Everybody was watching Crown's video where he was like, I practice every day, 14 hours a day. This is my life. I won a world championship, and he got it now. But is he going to be able to keep up that passion into the following years? Is he going to be like, okay, I got my championship, now I want the second one and a third one? Is ambition going to be up to form? You know, he's getting older. Everybody talks about his age. He performed last year. What about 2018, et cetera, et cetera? I
mean, preseason expectations are always so tantalizing because all we can look at is the little snippets that come out about scrims, about the rosters on paper, and make our judgments. Why people look at my prediction as SKT, and the SKT fans will still be vigilant. They'll still feel confident their team can come through. Words are cheap. The talk is done on the Rift, and that's why it's so exciting to see what everyone makes of this new meta, of the runes that are reforged, of all the peculiarities of 8.1, which we are going to be on again today. So every region starting on 8.1 on the Season 8 patch. 2018 League of Legends. We got a taster yesterday with the LPL starting, all the glitz and glamour of being in the studio in Shanghai. Now we're here in Gangnam. Now we're here for the LCK. I'm so excited to see the Korean interpretation of another great year of action. Whoa.
Not to cut you off, but he actually has more bling on his wrist. I don't know if you guys caught that. He's got 2 bracelets on. Not to forget the earring that he had on the left ear, covered now by his headset.
But is he wearing a stopwatch? We don't have the answer to that yet, Brendan.
Well, I think 100%.
Yeah, he's on rise. He's definitely running a stopwatch.
Not just him, too. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these guys were running stopwatch, at least 2 or 3 for KSV.
Korean innovation is going to be the stopwatch counter because it feels like the stopwatch meta is certainly in full display. We'll be able to confirm that, too. I hear the game's ready, Brendan.
Guys, it is starting. The game is done. The pause is over. The countdown has started. KSV versus KZ in your first game of the 2018 LCK. Match number 1 for the 2018 LCK Spring has begun. KZ is on blue side, KSV on red. And the match has started. Papa, it's nice to have you next to me. We have a little bit of casting history. We did WCG, what was that, 2013?
13.
Yeah. We did a very fantastic FIFA broadcast I didn't do much talking. You did most of the talking because I knew nothing about soccer or football, if you will.
Yeah, I signed up for FIFA. I came to you and I said, Valdez, can you shout goal in the famous Spanish Casta manner?
Yeah.
You said yes, and it was a match made in heaven from there.
That's basically all I did. I mean, I am half Cuban.
You did not
so
put a foot wrong in that broadcast.
That's all I did. I did my job well, and I'm proud to say I did. But we're here now, League of Legends 2018. How far we have come, and how far Peanuts and Rascal have come to invade into the enemy's jungle, not laying off even to start off the game.
Yeah, they've been spotting a couple of wards here. They had a ward in proximity. It's going to be a reset on the red buff here. We could start here with one of those yakety sax moments where no jungler has a single camp for multiple minutes. But that does isolate the mid lane, and BDD pretty happy to have some free time while the Peanut is battle warding, just wail away on the Rise.
Ambition, he gives up on the red. He starts the Raptors, leashes them because he wants to go back to the red. So here he comes. Might be a fight for the smite, but actually just damaging Peanut. He's now down to half health. Ambition at full. BDD invading, hitting level 2 with his push, with the advantage he had in the mid lane with Cassiopeia over Rise.
Yeah, the theory here is because you have the level 1 advantage in mid lane, you will always get assistance first. No way for Rise to leave that lane at the start. Rise does push out and walk over. Kills the blasting plant. We could get 3v3 action.
Yeah, look at this. Putting out a bit of damage, trying to cycle that Rise onto BDD. So much damage. In comes Crown. He flashes away, but down he goes. BDD gets over the wall, hitting that first blood. Peanut will burn his flash too, but that is a hefty amount of gold already for Kingzone.
And that was just Kingzone knowing where they were strong. They had Peanut happy to invade, and they had Cassiopeia, who would always have the first level 2 ping. Cassio came first. They tried to 2v2. Nothing doing for Crown. He's now going to miss some minions, you'd imagine, even though the pushing power at level 3 is not massive for the Cassiopeia. The junglers are both significantly behind, although Peanut has enough to actually upgrade his pot here into this Hunter's Potion to be able to get into the jungle.
Take another look at this replay here. You can see Crown doing his best. He's only level 2, so he can't get the full cycle off, but just in general, Cassiopeia, once she hits her poison, is going to do more damage with the help of Peanut.
And that's kind of the two-part plan there for the side of Kingzone is you will have first rotation from the Cassio, and Rise, without all 3 of his abilities, cannot put out any sort of machine gun shenanigans. He's pretty useless outside the instant snare, and Jarvan only had a flag, no flag and drag. For Kingzone, we're going to win in multiple different ways. That translates into a first blood in a very early tier for the Cassio.
Yeah, she is sitting pretty, BDD, on the lips of many fans and analysts out there, just fans of League of Legends, saying that he may be the new star, superstar coming in. Unfortunately, didn't make it past quarterfinals in Worlds, but maybe this is his shot. You know, he's still very young and already having a good game number 1 here, Papa.
Yeah, his first international tournament, when he actually had to pull out the hard carry when he got ahead on the Syndra. Left a bit to be desired in that first game against Samsung Galaxy, but he's growing into his role. If you remember how good he was in the Kesper Cup, where his hard carry games on Azir led to many Azir bans just targeted at BDD, that you know there's still a lot about that player as Peanut continues his invade.
You can see how strong Zombie Ward is in that moment. The ward stays there for so long so that he can see the red being taken 2-3 minutes later after their initial invade. We're getting a trade here in the mid lane, going deep onto Crown. You can see just how low he is. Neither of them have it back. They're summoners, but Peanut taking a lot of damage up towards the Raptors, maybe getting a little bit too aggressive this time around. He goes down. Now BDD trying to go 1v2, gets Ambition low, needs to land a poison. He gets it onto Crown. The Q misses.
BDD actually goes through the controller, didn't have vision of the brush, could not DPS down Ambition or Crown, didn't feel confident to. Peanut completely misread the situation. No stopwatch this early in the game, and actually went down just tussling with Ambition. May have thought that BDD would come to help him rather than 1v1 in the mid lane. Synergy still needs to develop between those two, but it's a kill back to KSV that honestly shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, you were talking about that tussle in the jungle.
Now I think Peanut's impression when he started the camp was that the Cassio who was pushing in would react first, but he doesn't have flash. BDD is not on the same wavelength. Ambition runs in. BDD doesn't consider going in for that last Twin Fang. Doesn't want to give a 1-for-1 in that scenario, and because there was a control ward, there would have been a guaranteed drop in DPS on either of the members as they walked back into lane. So end result, 1 free kill to KSV.
Hey, you were talking about the synergy. It is day number 1, match number 1 in this best of 3. I'm sure these guys will get on top of it in the future. Maybe this is Peanut, you know, being unleashed a little bit as well, just going a little bit too aggressive on that Nidalee against the Jarvan. He has his flag and drag now, was able to secure that kill. So taking a look at some runes, you can see what Rascal is running on Ornn. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, Futures Market there. The Biscuiteer just wants to get through a tough lane. The Unsealed Spellbook and not being grasped is because he's in a melee versus range matchup. Doesn't mean he's going to get a lot of grasp procs. Does mean that, of course, he can teleport plenty of times. Once he gets there, he has Ignite for laning phase, just if Peanut comes to gank top lane through the ultimate, say, at level 6. And just for lane control in general, having Ignite makes people second-guess things like turret dives, so he's pretty happy in this scenario.
Yeah, he also has the minion desynthesizer, I think it's called. The one that kills the minion and it gives you extra damage against. It gives you a little bit of a push. We haven't been too impressed by that, but we've been seeing some of these top laners take it, perhaps for some extra pushing power. We saw Vlad taking it over in LPL the other day.
We haven't been watching the bot lane at all, but we should talk about the fact that it is the Quadra Relic Shield start by both AD carries and supports. I'm sure a lot of people at home, especially if they haven't been following the Korean scene, are thinking, why AD carries picking up support items? How is this happening again? But the big takeaway is you think back to last time we saw competitive league, as a nice little trade happens here in Prey and Ruler, is that when it was the All-Star meta, it was about poke AD carries. It was all about double comet, some summoner area, and just poking people down. You couldn't run hyper carries or tank supports because you couldn't even lane against them. I'll hold the point for now as Peanut considering his options in top.
Okay, going to look to land this Ornn ultimate, knocks him up, in comes the spear, hops over Rascal into the flash, but now he is ignited and knocked up by the Ornn. Down he will go. No hope for him as Ambition was nowhere to be found, coming in a little bit too late to help out QV.
And credit to Rascal, he was very on point with his skills. Difficult to hit QV with flash up his mid lane.
Oh, there you go, getting hit in the face by that Cassiopeia ultimate. In comes Peanut, trying to realm warp away. Not sure if necessary, but he does get out safely anyway.
Yeah, Crown didn't have stopwatch to go for the stopwatch ultimate play there, so no ability for him to actually get out the get out of jail free card as Ambition and Peanut once again tete-a-tete.
Peanut is just not letting up, man.
This is the battle war stuff. He actually got with the auto attack. Oh, Ambition will be tilted about that one.
Not a feel-good moment for Ambition or KSV in that small play, but nice bit of gold going over to Peanut. He was almost out of mana, and he's still going in there challenging Ambition.
So just to finish the point on the bot lane, it was, I believe, Kramer once again. He was the first person to do a Relic Shield and Pro Play on Twitch. Relic Shield, Callista, and of course all these hyper carries. The overheal rune to actually get extra shielding on top, Janna style, over when you're maximum health. So basically, you enter lane here, you have sustain coming from the auto attacks for both members with the double Relic Shield, and you just have so much sustain that the poke is out and the hyper carries are in Valdez.
Yeah. You can see up here just a replay, Rascal landing everything. Already, QV had used his flash, so a pretty easy E for the knockup.
And the flexibility of running Unsealed Spellbook on so many champions. Alistar in the bot lane, like we said, in the LPL yesterday, today, with Rascal on top, is you can take Ignite, and suddenly, those sort of ganks, which feel almost futile when you're running traditional summoners, can actually work if you're able to take the Ignite for laning phase and getting a kill in a lane that was left up. KSV could have banned Ornn in both rounds of the draft. We're happy to take the Gnar into Ornn matchup to have lane priority. It actually makes them pay in that scenario.
It's kind of interesting to see the evolution of Ornn. Everybody talks about how he has pretty much no counters, but now he can take Ignite in the top lane, and considering how much CC he has, if there's any DPS from the jungle, you're in danger of being ganked at any time and dying against this tank in the top lane. So see if some nerfs come out in the future, Unsealed Spellbook, or perhaps Ornn.
I think both.
Right now he's pretty strong.
I think both. Valdez is a pretty confident bet when it comes to Ornn and also the Unsealed Spellbook rune. Maybe looking at the Summoner CDR. Obviously the flexibility is the main reason you take the rune, but the CDR kind of pushes it over the edge. Ornn just doesn't have bad matchups. He gets the teleport advantage because he doesn't have to back as often, can just incrementally pick up cloth armors aplenty in matchups against the Gnar. And then he's an ultimate initiator with his ult as well. So he has everything going for him. and that means it's so hard to look past him. It was a surprise to see him in the second round of picks, let alone his first pick in this game.
Yeah, you were talking about all that cloth armor. It doesn't only help against Cuvée, but the ganks from Jarvan, who tries to come in, only completing his jungle item. Now, Rascal is pretty low. In comes the flag and drag into the Cataclysm, knocked up by the Gnar, and, well, I'm sorry, buddy, that's just way too much CC. Down goes Rascal. A nice follow-up gank there by Ambition.
Yeah, very nice timing. Rascal's flash was about 15 seconds away, so even had the correct timing through the Summoner Spell CDR of the Unsealed Spellbook. That was 5 seconds later. If the calculation was off, he would have been able to flash away. So nice timing there. Good synergy between Ambition and Cuvée.
Here we go again. These guys with the non-stop action landing that
misses the Q.
The flash over the Q, but BDD is too low. Tom Kent comes in, but he might be a little bit too late. Ignite comes in. Peanut for the flash, but the shield comes in, and in comes Ambition. Peanut will be saved, but Crown with the last-second shield saves his own life and gets away with the kill.
Crown's dance moves were insane in that play, Valdez. He should have died multiple different times. The one Q missing from Cassiopeia really stopped BDD, even with Flash not able to get through it. Bot lane Prey doing some damage to Ruler. CoreJJ's here.
Oh boy, is he gonna get knocked up? There's the Feather Storm, but forces the ult out, does CoreJJ. Nicely done.
Spring season MVP was Crown. A lot of people forget that when they remember his struggles in summer. We're back in spring season, and maybe the new king of spring after Dade is Crown, because he was so on point with the Rise. Can't wait for them to roll the replay. Even Nidalee coming in with a 200 health Rise to kill. Couldn't pull it off. We're going to see the replay here. So BDD, second time in a row that he actually hits the ultimate. So you might think, okay, finger waggle at Crown at the start here. That's a lot of damage in, but missing the Q there. Flashes away from Rise's Q, falls low. No way, tanking the minion wave, and the damage going to get out. So Crown flashes away from the Q, gets through, and then Nidalee with a second flash here. Can't make it out. In fact, would have been the second death for Peanut, if not for Gorilla with the W there. So that was a sick series of plays from Crown in particular.
It's pretty unbelievable to see what a guy like Crown can do with absolute mastery on a champion. And I'm sure he's happy that Rise has re-entered the meta in full force. Wouldn't be surprised to see him on this champion pretty often. Maybe we'll see a ban on it in game number 2. Things to think about. Ambition over here sitting at 2-0. Already picked up a cowl here. Got a nice bit of magic resist after that jungle item. Is going to begin the dragon, has Crown and CoreJJ to help him out. And no vision over here. Should be a free Inferno for KSV.
Really big first purchase for Ruler. All the action was happening away from the bot lane. And being able to rush a Ginsu Rageblade without there being any downside to it. Staying equal in CS, going for this item that has a very expensive recipe. You buy a blasting wand. It never feels good to be building that Ginsu Rageblade. There being action everywhere except bot also suits KSV as well. So in terms of itemization and also just the flow with the Infernal Drake coming in, everything working for KSV.
Looking pretty good so far. This is a top lane that we actually can look at and have a bit of action, especially with the 2 aggressive junglers we have on the map. We'll see if Rascal gets himself in some more trouble a little bit later on. We're finally getting a look down here in the bottom lane. Not too much action with the 4 relic shields. Even a bit of trading is just going to be trading shields with that over here.
In a standing DPS fight, because the Rageblade is being complete, Prey has, that building block item at the moment in the Essence Reaver. It will be actually advantage Ruler in these trades, so that's why being zoned off the bot lane wave. Also, both control wards for KSV are down on the bot side, so they control the bot side river as well. They're even expanding their vision to the top side. Against Nidalee, you usually see a situation where there's a big river vision advantage for the Nidalee team because of that ability to battle ward. Now Nidalee has to stay in her own jungle. The hope of a battle ward is gone for now because they're losing the 2v2. They're losing the skirmishes that you pick Nidalee to win.
I think the top number is time spent near a lane.
Jungle proximity, I believe it is.
Yeah, jungle proximity, and then the bottom is obviously
successful
gank.
ganks.
Oh boy, look at Prey getting low. Is going to flash that ultimate, but in comes Peanut. There's the first stopwatch we've seen. Ornn, though, teleporting in is going to be enough damage to take out Ruler. Can they pick up another kill, though? Getting that nice bit of damage with the Brittle from Rascal on the Ornn. So much coming out here, and too many members of KZ means that a second member of KSV will go down. KSV is pushing the top lane. We'll see if he can get that turret.
Not a moment too soon, even a feel-good moment for KZ. They needed that there King Zone as KSV was winning in every area of the map. The price will be pretty significant. They lose first turret in the top. They will also lose eventually the Rift Herald as it'll be taken down. But just extending the laning phase was what KSV wanted. So ending a laning phase somewhere from a King Zone perspective means a longer lane, means somewhere that Nidalee can look to return to, means they can dart out of lane, put down some aggressive vision if you're Gorilla, and have a side to play around. 50-50 vision is what King Zone was dreading. So actually being able to open up vision somewhere, it's a pretty severe cost, but the alternative was probably an inevitable loss for the side of King Zone.
Yeah, it's good to see them being active. We're going to take a look at the replay. Prey just getting way too low to start it off. Not really a factor in this fight.
You see why Braum was quite a happy choice here. Can just interrupt the ultimate there from the Orin. Didn't matter in the end. They had 4 members. They were able to chase him down, but that interaction will be important when it comes to initiation in future fights for JJ. Extended going down, but when it comes to map objectives, KSV still came out ahead.
Yeah. Prey wasn't the one doing too much damage, but he did bait them in, so nicely done there, at least. BDD sitting at 1-1, as is the Rise. Rise finishing his Abyssal Mask. Not going to be taking too much damage from that Cassiopeia a little bit later on. It's kind of crazy where Rise can get in the later game. That sustained DPS, but also the tankiness is going to be pretty out of control. But here we go. Rascal trying to knock up Crown. It is going to be enough to get that knock up. Once they get the second one,
everything.
There comes BDD. And we do have the phase rush coming in, but already is going to be taken out before that does fully channel. So nice little gank there, if you will, by BDD.
And nice mechanics from Rascal. The big question mark for this roster was, of course, Khan not being available for the first set after his behavioral transgressions, and Rascal coming in on Orin. He's been very on point, both in the gank top side and now the gank bot side. So it's not going to necessarily be the substitute top laner that's holding back King Zone in the early game, as Prey looking to get some chip damage on the mid lane turret.
Yeah. I do agree with you. I feel like Rascal is playing quite a game, but at the same time, to be totally honest, Ornn is not the hardest champion in the game.
There's
but
still skill shots.
Yeah, there are. It's, you know, you send forward your Q in a straight line with the guy right in front of you, and you land it, and you don't miss your E because you run straight into that pillar. But either way, he's not making nervous mistakes, which I like. He's fulfilling his role, as you were talking about, and he's just playing a solid game, which is quite nice. By the way, did you notice that the electrocute on Peanut is massive? I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh, you have it on your monitor. I don't actually have the keystones on my monitor, but it's pretty comical there. It's some Harry Potter-sized lightning bolt.
Yeah, Ambition's got it too. Aerie, she grew up. She evolved into a new Pokemon there, it looks like, for Kive. Kind of funny.
But as you promised, no Pokemon. And here we are.
I know, I couldn't help it. I had to bring it in there. You know, Aerie. We don't have any Callista or Alistar coming in, but hold the phone. BDD in a bit of trouble, but the teleport comes in, may flip the tables here. Who will they go for? Rascal looking to perform once again. Looks like they are going to go on to Kive, who just hops on over and then flashes away and makes his way away from that gank.
Pretty significant investment, and Crown will get free farm and also the ability to push in on the top side here. So a flash given up for map pressure advantage to KSV. But at least KZ know what they have to do. King Zone know they have to continue to play make. They do not want them to opt into late game fights, as KSV want to get that Demolish proc off. Not able to yet.
Yeah, not quite. You can see the poke that comes out of not just Ruler, but also Core JJ. Always can slow down to help the Varus out. And Xayah, she only has a couple of feathers that she can throw forward, and that's about it. So Varus and Braum obviously going to get the better of that poking advantage. Another start on the Dragon here for KSV. This time it is going to be a Mountain Drake. In comes Peanut, though. He's not going to let this one go, and there's the steal. Peanut making his presence well known on his new team, saying, hey, no, that's my Dragon.
And smite mechanics was something Peanut were famous for. We can't forget his Graves flash over the Ash Arrow into Baron Steel last year on SKT, so that at least staves the bleeding off a little bit for the side of King Zone. They didn't have a teleport on Rascal, that's why they felt comfortable, KSV, to start it up. But Drake goes over. Rift Herald using the bot side means another turret rolls in for KSV. And again, narrowing the map that Kingzone have easy access to narrows the places that Peanut can go safely. Going for a DPS build, no Rod of Ages here. You will also notice another one of the eccentricities of the 8.1 itemization is the Frostfang purchase, because it does not disable on monster minions, only on those lane minions. You are able to farm the jungle, then every gank pick up all those quest procs and get the quest pretty early. So it means extra gold income for the AP junglers that were largely out of the meta in 2017. And it just means that you're able to stay more on gold parity with your lanes, whether you're ganking or farming.
Yeah, we see it a lot, not just on those AP junglers, but, you know, Vlad and Echo, guys that want to get in close. They will build the full item and use that slow to get on top of you. We have a bit of a lull here. The Baron is up. That Mountain Drake is going to help out Kingzone if they do want to rush that down. They also have Cassiopeia, another thing to think about. They can easily burn down the Baron if they get a couple of picks on top of KSV.
Notice the itemization adaptation here. Not going to be an overshield early for BDD. He's gone for the Void Staff. Just realizes he's not going to be able to push damage onto the back line. Even his opponent mid laner has, of course, gone for the now standard build of into very early magic resist for Crown. So a lot of tanky targets and take down. No ability to actually get to Ruler in the back line.
Notice an adaptive helm on the jungle Ambition and Kibe
top,
as
yeah.
well. They just do not want to get hit by the Cassiopeia. Or the Nidalee. I mean, it's going to be a lot of repeated spells that come out from those two. So, another nice couple of pickups there. Definitely treating Cassiopeia as a big threat in this game. Opens the door for Prey to do a nice bit of damage. They don't have too much armor stacked up just yet in this game.
But because it's more of a 3-item spike for the Xayah in particular, you get the magic resist now, and you just try and get a big enough advantage that the armor can kind of be a luxury later because you're so well suited against BDD. Against Peanut, even most of Rascal's damage will be magic damage related, so you feel really powerful as Ambition, having the adaptive helm, the ability to ult whoever you want and not have to worry about damage. Kibe has the damage on top of his own adaptive helm because he has the Black Cleaver so early. So itemization-wise, definitely give the advantage to KSV compositionally as well. Kingzone can make very innovative plays. They still have the 3-man synergy of Peanut, Prey, and Gorilla from all those Creative Rocks Tigers plays in 2016. They're going to have to look for some more steals. They're going to need to be more opportunistic because KSV, they just want to put down control wards, keep farming. They feel like they're on course for an inevitable victory later.
Next dragon up is going to be another Mountain Drake. So a big pickup it would be for Kingzone. No doubt KSV want to deny that from coming in. Oh, Prey actually got out of that, and CoreJJ blows his ultimate. Kind of awkward there. Bit of invulnerability you have at the end of your recall.
Yeah, misread on the back timer there. That's first stage jitters right there, we'll say, from CoreJJ, but it's not around Baron, it's not with the Drake spawning, so there isn't really a window to abuse the cooldown being down for the next 60 seconds or so, so not a big cost there for the gaff from the side of CoreJJ.
What did you call it? The gaff?
A gaff. That's a
gaff.
British term for a mistake.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe I'll add that to my vocabulary, a gaff.
Watching KSV just try to defend where possible. They're seeing where Peanut is setting up, and that side of the jungle has defensive control wards. Not too worried about the potential for any picks, and Peanut's build certainly hasn't come together. Lich Bane is still whiles away for him here.
Yeah, they're getting a nice bit of damage down, or rather wards down. But it's all being cleared out immediately by KSV. So far, looking in the mid-game at least, like an even game at this. We do have 1 minute and 20 until this Mountain Drake is spawned. But for right now, it is really just a fight for vision. Kingzone was able to get that top turret, which does open up that top side of the map. You can see there are a couple of wards inside near there as well, which will help with going for that Baron if they ever get an opportunity to.
Kingzone normally need multiple members to actually contest vision. You normally need Tahm Kench with a Nidalee, otherwise Nidalee can of course be popped very squishy with this build, whereas KSV have 4 tanks and a Varus, so much easier for them to put down and contest vision. More of a multi-step process means it's still possible for Kingzone to find vision advantages, just a little bit less trivial for them to do so because they need that buddy system to make it work.
Okay, well, this is one opportunity they can go for, trying to get on top of Crown here. He actually just walks out of that phase rush, or the Realm Warp. Getting my runes mixed up. Getting a nice bit of damage down onto Peanut, who just walks away. But it looks like the Tom Kents never made it up into the top lane. Probably was interrupted somehow in the river.
Seeing KSV keep pushing relentlessly in mid lane. Set up the cross map. They know that Rise can't get to mid lane anytime soon. Doesn't have teleport, of course. Doesn't have Realm Warp either. That's why we're going to see an attempt at a rotation here. They're actually jumping onto the Mountain Drake just spawning, but KSV will at least put multiple members around Baron. That means that Peanut can't join them on the bot side of the map.
You can see Peanut's a bit low, not just on health, but mana. And, okay, trying to get on top of Prey here, but they do lock down Crown, who is forced to burn his flash to get away. But as you did mention, they're taking away that Mountain Drake of bigger importance at this moment in time. But as I do say that, Peanut might get in here in time.
2 for 2.
Walks on in. They're going to block him into the wall, and down he does go. Misses the smite. And so Peanut not able to make it happen this time around. That's going to be the Mountain Drake at least here for KSV.
Nard the Drake to death there. DeCuve doesn't have that ability now, and of course is exhausted as well. First movement to the Drake was Kingzone's, and they had to back away because KSV had those members around Baron, like we mentioned. So KSV just walked up, down the front door, took down that objective, and only a single Mountain Drake to speak of. A small gold lead here, but because of the compositional advantage in team fights for KSV, nothing to worry about for the side of KSV.
Yeah, they're sitting pretty. You know, like the old Samsung would just kind of sit and wait and farm up. They would get behind, but they would always play for that later game. The hyper carries back in that meta. It's kind of what we're seeing here. You know, Ruler just farming up, Rise getting into that later game. Already on 3 items here. Picking up that Seraph's Embrace now. Going to be even harder to kill. Gnar, he's going to be doing his job, adding a little bit more armor this time around, and so that means that Xayah going to be doing a lot less damage to him if he is in the front line. Ooh.
Not the steal he wanted, but at least getting a bit of vision there is Peanut. And to me, the Nidalee pick, this is the part of the game where you look at it and you think, okay, with the magic resist stacking we knew about, with the team comp of 4 tanks, how will the Nidalee ever do relevant damage? Even proccing the Lichbane is difficult. Won't be getting into Cougar form with any reliability. And it feels kind of like quasi-Ardent Sensor meta here. Feels like comfort for Ruler in particular. There's going to be 4 beefy CC tanks. And for him to free auto in, and he's got the on-hit build, 3 items strong, very, very powerful. Buffs up his allies' damage with things like the Wit's End. It's looking so comfortable for KSV, and that's why they're just happy to extend the game, and we see Kingzone trying to fish for things, but they just get more and more unlikely as the minutes tick on.
You were talking about Nidalee's damage, and she landed an almost max-range spear onto Crown, and he just had his shields taken away, and that was it. So you're going to expect some more of that as the game continues on, as Rise gets even stronger. And not too impressive so far out of this Nidalee. Had some early game shenanigans, but that's about it. Has a nice bit of healing, I suppose, with that extra AP, but kind of a support jungler at this point.
There's not as many ways for Kingzone to play the map either because of the semi-global there for Rise. They can play 3 lanes more cleanly than Kingzone can. They're 1 teleport down in that particular regard. So game has hit a stalemate, but you can see KSV keep thinking about their options. They want to get some deep vision down for the Gnar to come around, and although Peanut will push up, it's just contest vision no more.
Yeah, it's a bit of chip damage. You can see the Lig actually missing Ambition, but look at that. Ambition is out, and Crown, he gets caught over there. No way to get out of this one. 4-on-1, and even Prey was coming over, so Crown getting caught. This could definitely open up the map here for Kingzone.
And they didn't have the deep visions. They didn't see the rest of Kingzone was pincering Crown away. KSV's trying to play cute, but no ability to actually evacuate Crown. No Zhonya's complete at this point in the game, either for Zhonya's part. I think it's time for Kingzone to try to rush down this Baron.
They're going to go for it. Or they're at least going to stick around the Baron, deny as much vision as possible, maybe bait Ambition in. Nice control ward there by KSV. Keeps the front line vision alive, but it is going to be taken out now by Gorilla. And immediately it starts. Double control ward in the pit. They are going to come off of that Baron, try to go for a pick. They do have the Ornn ultimate back, but it is blocked by CoreJJ, but he's slowed by the poison. Featherstorm coming in, not going to lock anyone down. You can notice the Varus ultimate keeping everybody from Kingzone back. Here comes QV, he's about to go Gnar form. Will he come on out? Not able to get any picks here. We'll just throw some stones, and that's about it.
It's the problem for Kingzone is the only force they have is the ultimate that's so easily answered by Braum when Unbreakable is up. So even in a 5v4 scenario, KSV made the percentage play. They saw that Peanut had no mana. They didn't think they would start the Baron. They were waiting for the turn. The turn was failed, and you do the math, Valdez. They went down 4v5, and yet they still took a turret to nothing for the side of Kingzone.
Very patient play. They didn't get out of hand. They didn't rush into the Baron pit. Just baited out a bunch of abilities and blocked them with their Braum and all their shields.
I mean, this level of play, you just look at the enemy team and you're like, how fast they do Baron? Can they turn? In terms of the speed, pretty quickly.
Yeah, they can. They do have that Cassiopeia. The ult is going to hit Ambition in the front, who is getting quite low. They take him down. That's going to be a big pick. Xayah able to get the pick. Peanut will take that Baron. QV lands a nice ultimate onto 4. Lots of low members of Kingzone. Another blocked or an ultimate. Crown, though, forced to flash away.
Ruler.
Can they get any more of these members? Peanut might go down on the right. Down he goes. Gorilla now trying to get away with BDD. They want to get these 2 kills. The members that have the Baron, they are going to get BDD. And Gorilla on the run, not looking lucky for him tonight. As a couple more damage that comes down from these 2 members will do it. Triple kill for Gnar, and KSV is going to ace Kingzone after they take the Baron.
Kingzone did the only thing they could. They saw Varus was out of position. They said, this is the only time we'll actually be able to take the Baron. It won't be a 5v5. Unfortunately, they kill the Jarvan. They get the advantage. They get the buff, but it doesn't count for anything, Valdez, because the cleanup from KSV's teamfight comp was immense. We see the replay here. Note that Varus is coming from base. He cannot get there. They take out Ambition first. You say, okay, it's a masterstroke. Kingzone is back into the game, but they can take poke damage forever, KSV. They are so tanky, and they cannot get any damage onto ground. He's free hitting. Ruler shows up late. The tanks are still healthy, and if you got healthy tanks, Ruler will blow you away.
It's pretty unbelievable just what Crown can do as well. He flashed the poison of Cassiopeia, and after that, it was all just tail between your legs, trying to run away as fast as possible for KZ. They just wanted out of that fight, and well, your prediction, Papa, is coming true. KSV's later game composition is beginning to smash Kingzone here. They were able to take an extra turret in the mid lane. Did not get the Baron, unfortunately, which keeps things a little bit closer for Kingzone. But KSV is still sitting pretty.
Does mean that multi-year win rate on Nidalee looking more and more likely not come to be here. No extension of that big winning run on Nidalee for Peanut as the game is currently poised. It's been well answered here as, well, they're looking for another opportunistic pick. They get QV.
Okay, nicely done by Rascal. He lands another ultimate onto QV. It doesn't matter how angry you get as Gnar, 1v4 is not going to happen. And so they do get another pick using that Tom Kench very aggressively. But what can they do with it? It's just some kill gold. Maybe they can push the top lane, but that's about it at this point.
I mean, they're great picks from Kingzone, and it's the sort of thing you can point to KSV and say this is the 3rd to 4th time they've been caught unawares. So the map play here from KSV's left a bit to be desired, even if the scaling and team fight can certainly be cemented. First time Peanut's been in the enemy jungle for a long time here as they're trying to push up in the top side.
I thought he actually got that, but it was the gold from his Frostfang. Okay, trying to do a little bit of poking here with that 5v4 advantage. They got Rascal in the bush and no vision for KSV, but this time KSV respecting the vision. They have this control ward over here, will be taken out. But just time wasted for KZ in the jungle. They are able to get this mid lane pushed in though. Should be another mid turret. Here comes Ambition, will only pick up Rascal, but that's 5 members in the Cataclysm. And so a lot of damage coming out here. Prey in the back getting extremely low. QV coming in from the side. Ruler just totally left alone. And KZ getting a little bit too aggressive. That's going to be another ace. 5 members of Kingzone getting cleaned up by KSV.
Might be the end of the game as well. They can move the minion wave closer here to have a couple of minions. You were talking about Crown's bling in the player shots. The bling was all on Ambition. R-ing 5 members, then going golden with the stopwatch. It's going to be game 1 to KSV. It's not about Rascal. It's about how smart KSV drafted. The Nidalee came back for Kingzone. It came back for Peanut. It left something to be desired. 1-0 KSV.
Nicely done. That solid former Samsung, now KSV team play and later game fighting. That later game composition really worked out for them in the end. Very solid game for them, coming out strong, looking good here in 2018 LCK Spring. I doubt we're going to see Nidalee again. I think we are going to see a very different ban pick this time around from Kingzone. This was one of those matchups I thought would go to game 3, but after game number 1, I'm not so sure. I
mean, the proposition with Ambition in Samsung's lineup was always take it to them early. You know where the game will go. You know where they are most comfortable. Kingzone tried a couple of things. The Nidalee in particular from Peanut was to try to accelerate the pace of the game. It's why I drowned on and on about the fact that, hey, he's not able to invade. Hey, they don't control the river. They can't push advantages. And that inevitability I talked about rolled around 35 minutes, only one team in the fights, it's KSV. And you're right, they're gonna have to try to roll the dice here again, Kingzone, because if they take it to 35 minutes again and that man on your screen, Ambition, is playing, does feel like it could be a 2-0.
Yeah, Ambition tonight, as he does every night, wearing his wedding ring. He's got that, that wife power, if you will, that came in after he did get married. He's looking good once again. His Jarvan is on points. Doesn't matter what year you look at him, 2017 or 2018. He is just stomping with that champion.
And people remember what he said in the post-match interview. He said, triumphantly, Valdez, what skin do I want? I want a Samsung Galaxy Jarvan skin. Reminding us of that big play. It was, of course, Jarvan Nara that hit that huge wombo in the World Final. We're looking at the numbers. Grim reading the side of Kingzone fans. Damage numbers very decent, of course, for the likes of Prey and BDD in particular. The moment that Casio 1v1 was turned around and Crown got away, you could feel the game slipping from the fingers of Kingzone.
Yeah, it was a very unfortunate one-on-one. It was so close, and even Peanut almost got caught at the end of it, and Tom Kench had to come up and try to save him. It was just a very messy 1v1 that did not go their way. Had it gone their way, Cassiopeia gets ahead of the Rise. You have a lot more pressure in mid lane. You have Tom Kench roaming around the map with the Cassio maybe. It would have been very nice for Kingzone.
You see the danger of the stats also. A gold lead, but no game lead for the side of Kingzone.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate. But either way, guys, we're going to take a quick break before we do get into game number 2 of Kingzone DragonX versus KSV. Don't go anywhere.